Hi y'all, it's Professor Ellen. I'm just here to talk about setting up our EPUB, and today we're just going to concentrate on the covers for the magazine. And I'm going to do a video webcam part of this, and then I'm going to do a demo with a screen share to show you how to get started. But I wanted to do this video part to explain why we set up a 16-page magazine. And I brought in the typical magazine. There is I went to SMU, and they have a very nice layout, by the way, in here too. Look, there's their table of contents. You can see their letter to the editor. Here is their big spread to introduce the article. We'll be doing these as like divider pages. You'll be setting up pages like this too to just show how the type is. Again, another divider page leading into an article. Okay, another divider page leading into an article. So we're going to be doing divider pages for each of our articles, and you're going to be setting up type styles. Again, divider page, setting up the article. Okay, divider page there. These are all pretty nicely done. Setting up the article, right? And this is even sort of like an article within an article. They have some nice like subheads and call to actions here. There's some nice divider lines in there. But now I've gotten to the middle of this magazine, and I want to explain to you why things are always in multiples of 4. There's staples here, and if I slowly pull this apart, look at this here. For one page, 2 pages, and then 3 and 4 pages. So these things are actually printed on 11 by 17 and folded. That makes you an 8.5 by 11. So as long as things are stapled and put together like this, you're going to have to use multiples of 4. This is also called saddle stitching. They used to actually stitch down the middle of it, but now they use staples to put them together like that. So multiples of 4. Sometimes I have to get out the 4's multiplication charts and see how far I can go up. But you can only go up to, let's see, this one's 48 pages, and it's kind of thick. They've used some nice paper. But I'd say once you get around like 50 pages or something, you're going to have to switch over to a perfect bound book, like this Bowden catalog. And if you can see, I'll hold it up there. It is just cut and glued together as a square like that. If you can appreciate that and see. And this is going up to about 176, 177, 178, 179, 180 pages. So I think that's still in multiples of 4, but you can perfect bind it. So you could put like 1 extra sheet in there, so it'd still be multiples of 2. But so we're going to set up a 16-page book, and that is the why. And like I said too, we're going to just concentrate on covers. So our magazine is going to be called Ascenders. It's going to be like our class magazine. Ascenders is one of our typology terms, meaning like to rise above the line, okay? And everybody's going to have to do their own cover. So the first part of this is you're going to have to turn in thumbnails or mood boards if you prefer, whatever, but I want to see at least 4 from everybody. That's going to be the first part due. And so right here I have just sketched out my sketches. Where can I get that good? There, you can see that good now. Maybe if I turn this off, you can see better. Oh, there. Is that better? Okay. So I just sketched it out like this is be my Ascenders, the masthead, right? You've got to put in like a date and your name up in here. And I decided to use my dog, of course. So there's a little quick sketch of my dog. And I was going to maybe do some typography like best dog ever, kind of like coming out of her mouth. And I also have to plan, I'm going to have the 3 articles we're going to do, you know, like on the cover of a magazine, the 3 articles in there. And let's see if the cover of this SMU magazine does it. No, not really. Then my other idea here was to do Ascenders magazine maybe separate those. And I didn't know if this left and right version, it was going to bleed out too much. And I wanted to make the dog big. So I thought maybe I could put best and dog down here. I would still have space for my article titles, right? And then I thought, well, maybe I'll just turn it all sideways, right? And I can have the date and time on the side is something weird and different. Best dog here. And then for my last one, I thought Ascenders magazine, I can just do big words, best dog, and put her face in there for the O. So this or a mood board is what I want you to hand in for your first part of your assignment. And I'm going to switch over to a screen recording so I can show you how to get started too on your magazine. Okay, hello y'all. I think this is recording now. So yeah, I brought up my Pinterest board again. If you want to try and follow me, look for Ellen Dedman. It's D-E-D-M-A-N. And I have added to our typography class some examples of what I thought were some pretty good typography covers. So we kind of left off about right there. Now these are for something else, but the idea too that gave me the idea for doing our Ascenders class magazine was in the 70s there was a very popular magazine called Uppercase and Lowercase, and it was all about typography, and it was a whole magazine just based on type. So you can see kind of where I got the idea for this. It's upper and lowercase. Look, they have their date and their sort of header up in here, and it would just give examples of type. So to become familiar with that, here was like an upper and lowercase version, right? Scarab type. They did a nice job of like creating some ligatures here. What else did I want to show you in here? Right, here were some examples, a nice one from the Financial Review magazine. He's got different types of hand-drawn font in there around this guy's head. You guys could use a picture of yourself and do some different like thoughts you're having about design for this kind of look. Here was one, I bet this is by Stephen Sagmeyer. It's with Daniel Craig there, and they've sort of drawn all over him. And here is, you can see it's still the headline of the magazine. I think there's the date in here. This is a Malaysian magazine, and they have hand drawn in here the titles of their different articles and things. All right, here's one also hand drawn with like Gwen Stefani. Again, the title of the magazine, issue 7, volume 4, November 13th. Okay, and there's all the titles of their article. And let's do something that's not hand drawn. I guess here's the New York Observer. This is a nice bit of type design. The next big thing. This one still has the date up here in this little corner and sort of a little idea about what their article's about. There's some other ideas in here too for future on, but there are some good examples. I'm sure you can find more of your own, but those would be some good examples of what I would expect the cover of our magazine to look like. So here is what I have kind of roughed up right now. And let me show you that with no guide. So I'll start this off in a minute and how I did it, but I want you to see Ascenders magazine. I put Ellen Millar, November 2020, and I created, come on with me, that artwork. I created that in Illustrator. So all the rest of that is done just in InDesign. Okay, so let me show you how I got started in that. Dun, dun, dun. I want to create a new document. Okay, it's going to be 8.5 by 11 inches, right? Make sure you're in the like portrait setup. I have 16 pages. That's going to be how many pages we're going to have in our magazine. And they're facing pages. I'm going to start numbering on page 1. I did 4 columns. Let me show you what that kind of gives you. Showing the guides, it gives you these guidelines, right, for 4 columns. but you could do 3 if you want. Sometimes I like 3. People swear by different numbers if things should be even or odd. That's how wide the spaces are between the columns. I've added some margins so I know about the margins is the space inside here and along the bottom. And you should probably unbreak this and give yourself about 1 inch along the bottom. And that's because we're going to set up some formatting for our page numbers and the title of our magazine. So do a little break the chain there and give yourself some extra space on the bottom. I've also added 1/4 inch of bleed all the way around the outside. So if you want to have images that bleed off the edge of the paper, you can, and create, right? So this is kind of what we get. All right, so this page 1 would be a cover, and page 16 would be the back cover. And then you're going to have all of your articles and pages there. And let me just see, I will find it here. I have a plan, but we're not going to get to it later. Final ebook. Yeah. So here's going to be kind of how we're going to lay out all our pages, right? You're going to have a table of contents on the second page. And we're going to do article number 1, which is going to be about your favorite living designer. You're going to have to do a divider page like I was showing you in those other magazines. And 3 pages of type. And we're going to kind of fake up the type. So don't think that you have to write a 3-page report or anything, okay? Then you're going to have article 2, a place you would most want to work in your design field. And you're going to have to do like a divider page like we saw about that. Again, 3 pages of type. There can be images in there too. We'll talk about that all later. Article 3, you're going to do a new typeface, an article about something you found on like Adobe fonts or something that you really like, or your favorite typeface. We'll talk about setting that up later. And 2 pages of type. And in here, we're on the last 2 pages, we're going to set up your favorite piece from our typography class and some closing thoughts on it. So that's kind of the idea of what we're going to do. But let me get back to my pages I was setting up. So here, for my beginning page, I'm just going to type a big box in here and type cinders, right? And I really like, if I can find it this time, I'm going to do Rockwell. It's one of my favorite typefaces. I'll probably bump it up just to 72. And remember, I've said never to leave anything at metrics. At least move it over to optical. I kind of like things tight at like -5. And I feel like I could make that even bigger, right? I'm going to get it all the way out to my guides. See my guides I've set up there for myself? And we said too that the serifs can kind of hang out, right? And the bellies of the typefaces can kind of hang out. So that is fine where that is. Okay, so that is going to be my masthead, right? And then I have to have in there too Ellen Millar, my name, and the date. This is going to be due April 22nd, 2020. Okay, I'm going to make this also a Rockwell, but this time I'm going to use the regular, maybe 10 points. And maybe I can stick it up here somehow. Let me look at this. Okay, and I'm just going to make it the same height as that of cinders. Make it sit in there. I like to keep my boxes closed up too so I can find those things. Okay, so now we have about that to work with our image. If you want to like go and measure it yourself, I have left myself what is that height? 9.26 area to work with. So then I could go and set up something in Illustrator that size or that Photoshop to fit into my image there. But let's see, I have I already done my little drawing of my dog here. Okay, and I'm going to make it fit into, I'm going to use the bleed guides, those red guides, right? So I know some of the image will print off the side. That fits something proportionally right there I just did. And got to send that to the back, right? Okay, and now that I'm seeing that in there, because I already used black text, I might switch this over to white. A Cinders magazine, you know, maybe something like that, right? So that would kind of be my cover. A Cinders, I've got my name and date up here, and this is my typography artwork. Remember, this is, you know, about typography. So I had, get a little more red down here. So I had taken best dog, and I'd made myself a circle, and I had drug the bits of the type down to kind of, I made a circle here, and the bottom side of the circle I used down there, and I drug up the bits of the type here to maintain the circle here. And I got a little asterisk from Adobe stock, and I put it behind my dog's head, and you know, I cut the dog's head out in Photoshop, and I'm really liking that. But I would also need, like, my favorite designer. I would do Paula Shear. I would probably stick with Rockwell. Maybe white still. Let's see. Maybe I would go in here too and see if I could fit this to go along the edges here, like somehow fit in there, right? And I could put all the names of my 3 articles. You have to do favorite designer. You have to do someplace you want to work. You can research someplace you guys want to work. We're going to do some pages on that. And we're going to do too your favorite typeface. So think about what those are. The subject matters too. Maybe I'll put it right there, right? All right, it's all kind of very rough right here, but this is your goal to get towards, okay, for your A Cinders magazine, the cover. And for the back side, for right now, I am just going to make it the same color, and maybe you could put your name, phone number right there for a back side. I just matched the color to my cover. Okay, so there's my cover on page A, and what will be my back cover on page 16. And next time we will discuss all the pages in between. Okay?